please give your attendance in the chat. So let us go for the next topic, that is single phase induction motor. So before going for this topic, do you have any doubts with respect to previous sessions? Starting of motors, necessity and starters, different types of starters what we have been used. Do you have any doubts? Excuse me, do you have any doubts?
No, sir.
So shall we go for the new topic? That is single phase induction motor. So which will be the continuation of model 4. So if we don't have any doubts, I'll go for the model 4 single phase induction motor. Is this okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay, so we know that most commonly used induction motor, because AC supply is available as three phase. Okay, so converting it to a single phase, it is not that much difficulty. Okay, so that is the one advantage. And also if you see in most of the domestic applications, so we are using a single phase AC supply. That is the commonly used. Okay, so instead of DC motors, we are using a single phase AC motors, so which are most popularly used in domestic applications. So when I go for the applications, so in general, the single phase induction motors, so it will be rated in small ratings. Okay, so it will start from half HP or quarter HP. Okay, it depends upon the load. So based on that load, we will be preferring the motors. Okay, so and also while going for still very small motors, so the fractional capacity of motors will be used. So that in terms of still less than quarter HP. Suppose if we go for any small fans, excuse me. So if we go for any small fans, or if we go for toys, or if we are using hair dryers, so in such applications we will go for fraction of a horsepower, that is the HP. So generally the AC motors all will be in terms of horsepowers. Okay, so none of the motors will come in terms of watts. So all it will be in terms of HP, horsepower. So that's why we'll consider it as a half HP, a quarter HP, or 1 HP, or 3 HP, or 5 HP motors, like that. Okay, so this is the basic introduction before when we go for a single phase induction motor. So when we start the construction of a single phase induction motor, so you can see the diagram. So at the left side with the capacitor, so the blue color picture, that is the stator. Okay, so when I go for the stator, so it consists of the stator slots. Okay, so when I go for the stator slots, so it will be having n number of laminated plates. Okay, so it will be having single laminated plates, so we'll be calling those plates as the stampings. Okay, so these stampings will be made up of either silicon steel or alloy, steel alloy. Okay, so that is the material which will be preferred for constructing the stator core. So when we go for those n number of laminated plates, so which in terms of stampings, so which forms the stator core, n number of laminated plates will be framed and will be pressed to form a stator core. So these laminated plates, why we have to use? To reduce the iron losses. So that is the magnetic loss will be reduced by using the n number of laminated plates. So based on this, if you see, there will be some gaps here. Okay, so those gaps are nothing but the stator slots where the single phase winding will be framed. So the single phase winding, so as you see in case of three phase, there will be three different windings, whereas in case of single phase, there will be only single winding. So with respect to this, the stator conductors will be framed with n number of slots, covering all the slots. So similarly, so it will be designed for the respective number of poles. Okay, so that is a definite number of poles will be carried out. So generally, when we go for the poles, so here itself we will be considering the, that is based on the stator itself we will be considering the number of poles. So now with respect to number of poles, the stator windings are wound and the supply, whenever the supply is been given to the stator conductors, okay, so the synchronous speed will be produced. So that synchronous speed we know ns is equal to 120 f by p. So whether you go for a single phase or whether you go for a three phase, the synchronous speed will be having a constant. Okay, so this is regarding the stator of your induction motor. So while coming to the rotor, so what we have seen in case of three phase induction motor, so that is squirrel cage induction motor, that is the most frequently used type of rotor. Okay, so that is the main consideration uh, when you go for single phase or a three phase induction motor, so which will be preferably used as a squirrel cage rotor. So the squirrel cage rotor, again, it consists of n number of rotor slots. So if you see here, these are the rotor slots, so which are made up of either the copper bars or the aluminum bars. Okay, the single bar will be placed in a single slot. So if you see the bars, so bars are slightly skewed. Okay, so if you see, it is not parallel to the shaft. Okay, the bars are slightly skewed. So because to reduce the noise of the induction motor and also to reduce the locking tendency between the stator and the rotor. So that's how the bars will be designed. And if you see the rotor at the end, so these are the two end rings where the rotor resistance has been fixed. So we cannot include any rotor resistance. So since the rotor has been short circuited here, means shorted permanently, so that though no resistance will be included in the rotor. So this is regarding the construction of a single phase induction motor. So while coming to the working, so I'll go for the next slide. So while coming to the, so this is even this is the same. So what I've explained now, so that is the theory part. So now while coming to the working, so generally if you see this picture, okay, so this is the main consideration for single phase induction motor working. Okay, so that we'll see it later. So why single phase induction motors are not self starting? So before that, let us see the motor action. So how the flux will be carried out. So whenever a three phase supply is being given to a single phase stator winding, so then an alternating current flows through the stator winding. So this flux will be called as the stator flux or will be called as the main flux. So which will be produced in the stator conductors. So this main flux, what will happen? It will start linking with respect to the rotor conductors. So when it links with respect to the rotor conductors, the rotor conductors will be having the rotor current which will be flowing in the rotor conductors. So with respect to that, the EMF will be induced. So whatever the EMF which will be induced with respect to the AC will be the electromagnetic induction. So it will be in the form of electromagnetic induction. So this is based on the Faraday's law. So first law and second law, and the Lenz's law also comes into consideration. So with respect to this, the rotor current flowing in the rotor produces the rotor flux. So these are the two fluxes which will be produced in the rotor, stator and rotor of your single phase induction motor. So the flux produced due to the induction principle, that's why we'll call it as a single phase, induction motor. Okay. So this is regarding the working of a single phase induction motor. So another important difference between the DC and AC motors. So DC motors are self-starting, but whereas the single phase induction motors are not self-starting. Okay, so that's the difference with respect to the DC motor and the AC motor. So now with respect to that, why the single phase induction motors are not self-starting. So this is with respect to your diagram. So if you see this diagram, so we can see the two rotating magnetic components, so which are been rotating in the opposite direction. Okay, so while coming to this concept, so the main concept is with respect to the double revolving field theory. Okay, so according to the double revolving field theory, the alternating current can be resolved. So with respect to the two components, so there is two fluxes which will be produced. So at the final, so we'll be considering the maximum flux at the magnitude. Okay, that is the stator flux. So now with respect to the double revolving field theory, okay, so the two components of the stator fluxes, so half of the flux which will be rotated in the anti-clockwise direction, and half of the flux which will be rotated in the clockwise direction. So that flux will be representing it as the forward flux. So that is the forward component which will be rotated in anti-clockwise direction, while the flux B, which will be, that is backward, so will be rotated in the clockwise direction. So resulting these two components at any instant of time, so the stator flux will be produced. So now with respect to the stator flux, so you can see in this second diagram, so that is at the start both fluxes will be resulting to 0. So as soon as the motor has been started, so after at theta is equal to 90 degrees, so the two components will be proposing in this particular direction. So phi B and phi F will be at an angle of 90 degrees. So with respect to this, the resultant flux will be equal to your phi 1 m. So that is half of the flux which will be produced in forward direction, and half of the flux will be produced in the backward direction. So this is nothing but your stator flux at an angle theta is equal to 0. So now with respect to this, when the stator, that is a rotor, is rotated and cut with the rotor conductors, that is the flux cut with the rotor conductors, so EMF will be induced in the rotor. So that's the concept. So as the EMF is being induced in the rotor, the current flows in the rotor conductors. The rotor conductors produces the flux, and this flux produces the torque in one particular direction. So whether it can be an anti-clockwise direction or it can be a clockwise direction. So based on the flux which has been produced. So that will be shown in the other diagram. So how the torque is been produced. So you can see in this particular diagram. So based on the forward flux and the backward flux. So therefore, what will be the net torque experienced at this particular condition? So the net torque will be equal to 0. So if you say here at the start, these two torques are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. So each torque tries to rotate in the rotation in its own direction. So that thus the net torque experienced by the rotor is 0 at starting. Hence the single phase motors are not self-starting motors. So this is the basic concept why the single phase induction motors are not self-starting motors. Is there any doubts? Is there any doubts with respect to your single phase induction motor working, construction working, and why the induction motor is not been self-started? Is there any doubts? Any doubts? Okay, so I'll go for the next topic, that is the torque speed characteristics. So when you see the characteristics, the two oppositely direct torque and the resultant torque can be shown in this particular picture. Okay, so here is the torque due to the forward, the torque due to the forward field, and this is the torque due to the backward field, and here is the resultant torque, so which will be produced in the forward and in the backward direction. So the net torque at speed will be equal to, that is torque will be equal to 0. So now how this is possible? So with respect to the starting, so n is equal to 0 at that point, the resultant torque is also 0. So the single phase induction motor will be not self-starting motors. So with respect to this, the initial rotation in any direction, okay, so the resultant average torque increases with respect to the rotor. So that is initiated by the rotor, and motor starts rotating in that particular direction. So however, so it is not possible to give initial torque to rotor externally. Hence, some modifications has to be made in the construction of a induction motor. So that's why if you see at the top of your picture, so here you can see the capacitor is been connected into taken into consideration. So that's why your different types of motors, that is single phase induction motors, have different types of self-starting motors. Okay, so if you go with respect to this, the induction motors are having different types of starters. So one is the split phase starter. So second is the capacitor start induction motor. Third is the capacitor start capacitor run induction motor, and shaded pole induction motor. So if you see, the third one is the most frequently used in each and every applications of your single phase induction motor. That is in industry or in houses or in our lab also we are using the capacitor start capacitor and induction motor. Do you have any doubts with respect to this? So if you don't have any doubts, I'll go for one by one. So types of starters used in case of single phase induction motor. So one, I'll go for the split phase induction motor. So if you see the construction, that is the circuit diagram. Okay. So here one is the starting winding, that is the main winding of a single phase induction motor, and here is the here is the main winding, and here is the starting winding of a single phase induction motor, and a centrifugal switch is being used. Okay, so initially the centrifugal switch will be closed. Okay, so that's how the split phase induction motor comes into picture. So now with respect to the split phase, So same. So this is the stator and the rotor construction, main winding and the starting winding where it will be represented. So one, if it is the main winding, another one will be the starting winding. So that's how the uh, windings will be carried out in the stator of a single phase induction motor. So this is the phasor diagram. So let us see one by one how the split phase induction motor will be taken into consideration and how it will be working. Okay, so now while coming to the uh, single phase induction motor, so the main winding is the consideration. Okay, so as soon as the motor picks up its 70% or 60% of its rated speed, the centrifugal switch, which will be in contact with respect to the shaft of your induction motor, so it will be released. Okay, it gets open automatically. And once if the speed comes less than the 60% of its normal speed, so then automatically the centrifugal switch closes. So that's how your starting winding will be coming into picture. So which will be connected in the starting, and later the starting winding will be disconnected. Okay, so now with respect to this, so in addition to the stator, so one more winding, that is the winding called as the starting winding, or we'll call it as the auxiliary winding, which will be connected in the circuit. So now with respect to this, let Im be the current through the main winding and Ist be the current through the auxiliary winding. So now with respect to this, so as the main winding is inductive, okay, so it is an inductive coil. So here starting winding also it's an inductive coil, but it will not be uh, used. It is not been used in the circuit for more time. So only for short period the starting winding is being used. So since the main winding is an inductive coil, so the current whatever it has been flowing with respect to this, the will be lagging with respect to the main flux. So that's the main current which will be produced with respect to the main winding. So this current will be lagging the voltage by an angle phi m. So during starting, the current almost it will be in phase with respect to the voltage. So that is this starting winding. So we'll be having almost. So if you see the vector representation, so it's a starting current which will be flowing here. So that starting current almost, so generally we will not tell it is lagging. So let us consider almost it is in phase with respect to the voltage. So because it is highly resistive, so in that consideration we are considering it is in phase. So thus there exists a phase difference between the two currents. So that is the starting current and the main current. So this phase difference will be considering it as the alpha. So between the two currents. So the two fluxes which has been produced in the stator. So due to this starting winding and due to the main winding. So thus the starting torque and only one direction will be produced. So initially when the motor gathers speed of 80%, that is the synchronous speed, the centrifugal switch gets opened. Okay, so as soon as the centrifugal switch gets opened, so starting winding will be disconnected and it starts running with respect to the main winding. Okay, so that's how the split phase induction motor is being designed, and we'll call it as a split phase. Okay, so now the main flux which will be lagging with respect to the voltage will be represented as phi m. So this is how the construction and working of a split phase induction motor comes into consideration. Okay, so any doubts? So that's the explanation here you have been considering. In addition to the stator carries one more winding called as the auxiliary winding. The auxiliary winding carries a series resistance. So that is the impedance which is highly resistive in nature. So that's why. So we will be considering it is in phase. So that's how the inductive nature for the main winding comes into consideration. So small explanation with respect to this. Do you have any doubts? So as soon as the 70 to 80% speed is been produced, your centrifugal switch will be disconnected. It automatically gets open. So motor runs only with the starting stator winding. So this is with respect to your split phase. So now if you see the torque expression with respect to the split phase of induction motor, so almost it is not more than 300 percent of your full load torque. If you see the starting torque and the maximum torque, so it is not more than 300. Okay. So and also if you see the starting torque is more. Okay, so generally it is between 125 to 150% of its full load torque. So here is your starting torque. So there is 100 and between 100 to 200 is your starting torque. So it is too less. So that's why only with respect to the application point of view, this type of induction motor will be used. That is the split phase induction motor. So initially we require more torque. Okay. So that's a small explanation. The starting torque is proportional to the split phase, that is the angle, but the split phase of the motor gives very poor starting torque. So that is 125 to 150% of its full load torque. So the direction of rotation of the motor, it can be based on the terminals. So it can be reversed by reversing the terminals of either main winding or the auxiliary winding. So not only with respect to this, even if we change the capacitor, the motor will starts rotating in the opposite direction. Okay, so this will not be more preferable used. Suppose if you see in our house, fans also we are being used. Okay, so even there is a capacitor. Okay, so even that capacitor, if we interchange the terminals, automatically the fan will be rotating in the opposite direction. So the air will be flowing in the opposite. So that's how the windings has to be connected as per the phase sequence. Okay. So the direction of rotation of the motor can be reversed by reversing the terminals by using the main or the auxiliary winding or the capacitor also you can include here. Okay, so while coming to the application point of view, so it can be used in case of blowers or in case of any grinders, centrifugal pumps, okay, and washing machines. So as I told, fans, so etc. So these are some of the applications with respect to the split phase induction motor. So any doubts with respect to this?
No, sir.
And if you see the range of availability, so half kilowatt or 1 by 120 kilowatt can be used as the capacity of your induction motor. So when I go for split phase induction motors, okay. So similarly, when I go for capacitor start induction motor, so if you see the construction here, okay, so capacitor start induction motor. Uh, so the capacitor, the split phase induction motor doesn't have the capacitor, but here the capacitor start induction motor has the capacitor, which is being included in series with respect to the starting winding and the centrifugal switch. Okay. So sorry. So earlier I made a statement. The third one will be most frequently used: capacitor start and capacitor run. Sorry. So we are mostly used, frequently used. Induction motor will be the capacitor start induction motors. Okay, so if you see the diagram of single phase induction motor, what we have been used in our lab is the same diagram. Okay, so only the thing, so we are introducing wattmeter, ammeter, and the voltmeter. So here again the main winding comes into picture, the starting winding, capacitor, and centrifugal switches are connected in series with respect to your circuit. But what is the instant here? If you see the vector representation, okay. So in case of split phase, the starting current was slightly lagging, or it was, we used to consider it was in phase with respect to your voltage. Okay, but here the current, starting current will be leading with respect to your voltage. Okay, so that's the difference. Why? Because the capacitor already it will be having storing some charges. Okay, so that's why that charges will be initiated. So thus the starting current will be leading here. So I'll come for the explanation later stage. So now with respect to the construction, so you can see it is similar to the split phase. Only thing, a capacitor has been included in series with respect to the starting winding and the with respect to centrifugal switch. Okay, so the capacitor current drawn will be leading. Okay, so that's why we are using the capacitor start induction motors most frequently. So there is a increase in the split phase angle. Okay, that is the alpha. So if you see here, so alpha will be starting from the starting current to the main current. Okay, so depending upon the capacitor, the whether it has been permanently connected or the disconnected, so it depends upon the centrifugal switch. Suppose if the centrifugal switch is permanently closed, then it will be acting as a capacitor start capacitor run motor. Okay, suppose if it has been disconnected, then we'll go for a capacitor start induction motor. So that's how the induction motor will be uh, playing an important role. So now with respect to this construction, so if you see for both the cases, the torque you can see here. So the with respect to the capacitor start induction motor, so almost the starting torque is same between 100 to 200. But if you see the maximum torque, the starting torque for capacitor start induction motor is between 300 to 400. So that is the capacity is been increased. So if you compare to the split phase, it is double. If I go for capacitor start capacitor run, again it is same as that of your split phase induction motor. So that's why we are not much frequently using the capacitor start capacitor run motor. Okay, so while coming to the explanation, okay, a small explanation will be given here. So the current IM will be lagging with respect to the voltage, that is 5M. Okay, and the starting current will be leading at an angle with respect to pi start. Okay, so the angle difference between the starting current and the main flux will be the alpha. So that's the thing. The main flux lags, and whereas starting flux leads the voltage. Hence, the large phase difference between the two currents will be almost 90 degrees. Okay, so if you consider with respect to this and this, it is almost 90 degrees. Okay, so this will be considered as an ideal case. Okay, not for the practical case. We'll be considering only for the ideal cases. The starting torque is proportional to alpha. So again, the alpha comes into picture here. So hence the motor will be having high starting torque. So as you see in case of the torque picture. Okay, so here this is the graph. Excuse me. So this is the graph which has been produced for the capacitor start induction motor. And if you see the starting torque, so it is almost 350 times that of your full load torque. Okay, so that's how we'll be considering the induction motors. Okay, as a capacitor start induction motors. So now with respect to this, so when the speed approaches, so 70% or 60% or 80% of its normal speed, the centrifugal switch disconnects. So from the circuit, the centrifugal switch disconnects from the circuit. So as it disconnects, the capacitor so directly disconnects from the circuit. Hence, it is called as the so capacitor start induction motors. So in case of capacitor start capacitor run induction motor, so if you see in this particular diagram, there is no centrifugal switch. So the capacitor will be permanently connected in the circuit. So this will improve the power factor. But if you see the starting torque, starting torque is 150 times that of the full load torque. Okay, so that's why even this type of method is not much used frequently. Okay, so that's the difference between the capacitor start induction motor and capacitor start capacitor run induction motor. Is there any doubts? Any doubts? The phasor diagrams will be remaining same for both the capacitor start induction motor and capacitor start capacitor and induction motor. There is no much difference. Any doubts? So, while coming to the application point of view, so these induction motors will be used for high starting torques. Okay, so where the high starting torque is required, so there will be used. So, like in case of refrigerators or in case of conveyors or in case of compressors, fans, blowers, air conditioners, etc. So capacitor start, capacitor run will be used in case of ceiling fans. So as I told earlier, so air circulators or air blowers, so like that will be using the capacitor start, capacitor run. So there the capacitor will be permanently fixed. So these are some of the applications with respect to capacitor start and capacitor start capacitor run induction motor. Do you have any doubts? So there is a last topic, shaded pole induction motor. So and the comparison is there. So that I'll see in the next class. Do you have any doubts? So, any doubts?
No, sir.
Excuse me. Any doubts?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. Shall I close this session?
Yes, sir. We have maths quiz now, sir. 9:30.
Okay, fine. Carry on. All the best. Do well.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.